So Benfica just set a record for the most votes ever in a football club's presidential election. Huge turnout, and what came of it? Surely groundbreaking stuff. With Benfica not doing great on the pitch these days and spending tons, what did the Benfica members decide to do? Keep things the same. Yes, a historic vote that changed nothing, unfortunately. Aye. Guys, hello. It's time for your requested Benfica update, a club that simply cannot help themselves. We're constantly shooting ourselves in the foot. You know what? That own goal against Casapia from Tomas is just the perfect representation of the football team, our fan base, and the club in general at the moment. So we'll go over that and how Mourinho is doing at the moment with Benfica. We must pray to all saints that things will turn around. Hey, what's this? A segue into talking about this cool kit from Adrian's unique and mysterious kit collection, powered by our friends at Sangalo, who are having a massive holiday sale right now. Is that what this is? Yes, it is. More on that holiday sale in a second, but this jersey was designed, produced, and sponsored by Sangalo in collaboration with All Saints FC from Antigua and Barbuda, which with this design helps to boost local sales as well as give them global exposure. The All Saints on the front takes inspiration from local indigenous art, by the way, which is a nice touch there from Sangalo, as always. So if you want to buy unique kits like this one, the holiday sale is a perfect time. 20% off of everything in the store, or get 30% off when you buy 3 or more jerseys. To get access, just use my link below and you'll help grow the game around the world. Clubs in Africa, the Americas, Caribbean, all over the Pacific, Asia, and even Europe. Alrighty, to the vote. Now, as you know, Benfica is a club with the socios model, meaning members get to vote on who they want to lead the club every 4 years or so. Rui Costa won the vote quite handily 4 years ago with 84.48%. Prior to that, Luís Filipe Vieira won the October 2020 election up against a man named João Noronha Lopes, or JNL as we'll call him going forward. And that election saw some controversy as the counting of physical votes was denied. Only digital votes were counted, so Vieira won, and he lasted until July because he was then arrested and booted from the club as he was investigated for fraud, forgery, tax evasion, and money laundering. Wow. Rui Costa took over in July of 2021 on a provisional basis before winning the aforementioned vote with 84% of the votes, landslide, with Rui Costa saying, quote, "Tomorrow a new cycle begins with redoubled ambition in the future." So jump ahead 4 years. And all that Rui Costa has added to the Benfica trophy cabinet with this redoubled ambition is 1 league title, 1 league cup, and to be clear, it's the same as in England. Everyone cares about the Taça de Portugal, which is equivalent to the FA Cup as far as prestige goes, while the League Cup is seen as unimportant, unless of course you win it. Then everyone else are just sore losers, and this cup actually means a lot. Oh, and he won a couple of Super Cups as well, aka Community Shields for the Premier League fans who are watching. Because this video is not really for Benfica supporters. They know everything in this video. It's more for people from the outside, so I won't go into the nitty-gritty of it all. And so in the build-up to the October of 2025 election, last month's election, you would think that there was no shot that Rui Manuel Cesar Costa would be re-elected. Hashtag #OutUbro was seen all over social media. JNL was back for this election and was seemingly refocused and the greatest challenger to Rui Costa. People like Mantegas as well, but that fella promising Jurgen Klopp seemed like a yapper and ended up with 0.18% of the votes. Poor guy. Also, Luís Filipe Vieira was back and involved. So, JNL, who is he? He worked at Benfica back in the early 2000s under President Manuel Vilarinho, but he is a lawyer who ended up working for McDonald's Europe in various roles: legal director, director of franchising, CEO of McDonald's Portugal, president of McDonald's Southern Europe, even as high as corporate vice president and worldwide chief franchising officer. A lot of JNL's focus during the election campaign was, as expected, pointing toward the inadequacies financially of Rui Costa's term as president, saying things like, quote, "Benfica is experiencing a clear contradiction. It is a club that generates record revenues, but even so sees its liabilities increase and its equity decrease. This means there is a structural problem in the way the club is being managed: lack of cost control, absence of financial planning, and decisions made without a medium-term vision." So a lot of his focus was on this, as well as how there's no planning on the sporting side as well, saying things like how Benfica is currently run by improvisation. And I gotta say, that's a good line. I agree with that. The decisions in the market to sell players, whether they be important or last-minute sales at the end of a window, without bringing in adequate reinforcements, has haunted Benfica for a long time. Where other candidates failed to bring up a coherent plan, JNL said that he had a financial plan, a long-term sports plan, and that it's not enough to be a football man to run a football club. You need real-world experience to run a club as big as this. And so with all of this talk, with it looking like Rui Costa was done out here, how did the election go in October? Rui Costa made a late surge to end up with the most votes with 42.13%, JNL 30.26%, and Luis Felipe Vieira with 13.86%. There was even a world record amount of voters. 85,000 people turned out, beating the previous record that was held by FC Barcelona of 57,000. Another trophy for the cabinet. Yeah, put it next to the Super Cups. I'm joking, of course. And so, JNL failed again, or did he? Well, the election institutes say that if a candidate doesn't receive the majority of the vote, then there is a second phase of voting up against the next best guy. So the Benfica election went to extra time, round 2, with JNL noting that almost 60% of Benfiquistas voted against Rui Costa. Now, what's going on the pitch while all of this is happening in the background? Because it all ties together, right? So when I last spoke of Mourinho joining Benfica, I was trying to be as optimistic as possible, filling the video with hopium that he would be a fit at Benfica. Well, he's done not much to improve our fortunes. Absolutely nothing, actually, in the Champions League. Bruno Lage was sacked following the loss to Karabag, and Mourinho has lost every match that has followed, including the latest one against Bayer Leverkusen, 1-0 at home. Now, I will give Mourinho some grace here, as Benfica's attackers have recently been infected by bozoitis. Thomas, who scored that own goal after Trubin stopped the penalty. I mean, if you haven't seen it, man, Trubin saved it. Thomas runs up to clear it and smokes it into the top corner of his own goal. I mean, it just doesn't get any better with the current state of things. God. But the attackers, they're creating the chances to score more goals, but they are failing to put them away. For how good Luca Bacchio is at beating defenders, for example. He's seemingly better at almost scoring than he is at scoring, and likes shooting from great distances. Pavlidis is going through a bit of a rough patch, but is still our most reliable attacker, etc., etc. So I will give Mourinho that, and so far he's undefeated domestically, but Benfica have dropped points against teams like Casa Pia, who are fighting relegation. The other draws were against Porto, the league leaders, they're undefeated, and Rio Ave. He inherited a team in 4th, and with 4 wins and 3 draws in the league, we're now in 3rd, but 6 points behind Porto. Still in both of the domestic cups, and needing an absolute miracle to survive in the Champions League, though Mourinho says that he thinks 9 points will be enough, or something like that. As expected, there isn't much of a tactical imprint that he has left on the team. He's maybe improved someone like Richard Rios, but any improvements over players has been pretty negligible. To say that we have improved much from where we were at under Bruno Lage, especially with the recent 2-2 draw with Casa Pia at home, no matter how silly the penalty was to begin with, or even sillier the own goal that followed, a team that was playing well wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It was always going to be a flip of the coin as to whether Mourinho was going to be a good fit at Benfica. And I think culturally, he's been embracing the club. He is spending a ton of time at the Benfica campus. From morning to evening, he's engrossing himself in the club, chatting with the youth players, etc. A cynic would say it's for the cameras. I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but I like to think that he does realize that failure here would be a huge, huge dark mark on his future in club football, given how things have gone after winning that Conference League trophy with Roma in 2022. Now, speaking of his former clubs, by the way, Fenerbahce under Domenico Tedesco, doing great. They are the only undefeated team in the league, and they're nipping at the heels of Galatasaray, just 1 point behind them and equal on goals scored with 25. So they found their scoring touch. Anyway, with Mourinho, I'm not ready to completely give up on him yet. The man was appointed on October 18th, less than a month ago. I'm willing to give him some more time, knowing that this probably won't be something that goes beyond this season. Right? Oh, well, maybe it will. because in the second round, extra time of the election, with people wondering if the Vieira and Mantega's voters would support JNL or default to Rui Costa, what happened? Benfica smashed the voting record once again, by the way, with 93,000 members electing Rui Manuel Cesar Costa with 65.89% of the votes to JNL's 34.11%. And so what I said earlier about the vibe that you would find on the internet almost exclusively being that Rui Costa is getting bounced, that he'll get crushed by JNL, once again, he won the vote. So what's happening here? Well, he's very popular amongst the older voters, or members, I should say. And that's key here because of how votes work at Benfica. It's not one member, one vote. No, the longer you've been a member, the more votes that you have. This is the breakdown. 1 to 5 years of membership gets you 3 votes. 5 to 10 years, 10 votes. 10 to 25 years, 20 votes. And finally, 25 years or more as a member, 50 votes. Not all votes are created equally. You don't even need to win the popular vote, as they call it. Okay, just going through this again, I want to make sure that I emphasize something because I made it sound like only old people are voting for Manuel Rui Costa to be the president of Benfica, and that's just not true. There's a lot of people that don't really care about sort of the health of the club financially, etc. They don't really see the bigger picture and how that affects the on-field product. And they just care about the football, and they see Manuel Rui Costa as someone who knows football, and so they're going to vote for him. And there's no age associated with that kind of thinking. It's just sort of all over the sort of population of Benfiquistas, of Benfica's members. It's not exclusive to the members who have been around for 25 plus years or 10 to 25 years or anything like that. It's as simple as JNL, not really a football man in the sense that he didn't make his career in football. Rui Costa has. He was around for when Benfica was doing well, although in a very different role. And so, hey, I'm going to go with that guy because I've heard of him. I know what he's done previously, and I can understand how his experience can help Benfica, if that makes sense. For me, what it comes down to is that Benfica is underperforming, not just on the pitch, but in the transfer market as well. Financially, get into a more precarious position. I mean, look at the fees we paid for Cabral, Jurasek, the loans we took from clubs like PSG that were busts, mismanagement of funds, and a lack of titles despite spending more than we ever have. And yet the vote shows that, hey, despite all of this, let's stick with the guy who has spent more and won less instead of going in a new direction. Now, when you see Porto and Sporting supporters celebrating that Rui Costa won, you know it's bad. A team underperforming, having an opportunity to change, and choosing to stay on the same path. And so that's what's happened. The current trajectory based on the last 4 years of Rui Costa is that Benfica is basically a plucky top 3 team in Portugal that will maybe win a cup now and then, and will maybe win a league title every 4 years or so. That will spend big in the market, but won't build anything with any kind of longevity in the medium to long term. Rinse and repeat. Manager wins something, they struggle in the next season, and they'll get sacked over and over and over again. That's kind of where we are now, unfortunately. And with Rui Costa and Mourinho leading the way, there's certainly not exactly fresh ideas on or off of the pitch. But we still support the club. We still hope that things work out despite fearing and expecting that they won't. And we wish the best for the club with the challenges that we continuously create for ourselves. I mean, did you see the own goal?